handles. Oops. I'm also filming on YouTube. That's where I save these lives these days. Anyway, where are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. October 1st, baby. I'm an October baby. Well, not baby, but I'm October 13th. My son was born on the 13th too, so it's good luck. Not that I believe in that stuff. I walk under ladders and that. I don't believe in that. Hasn't killed me yet. Okay, so where are you from? Oh, you just started following me. Welcome, Suna. Yeah, I've been on here for 1.5 years now, and I do daily lives, and yeah, I really enjoy it. My daughter told me to go on TikTok. I've been in business for 17 years teaching this, but yeah, I've just been on TikTok for 1.5 years. Israel, hello, welcome, Israel. Gee, that'd be an interesting place to go. Or you probably just think it's average, right? To you, it's no big deal. I lived in Australia for 20 years, and I can remember thinking, oh, Australia, it's so foreign. And then I lived there for so long, and I loved it. But yeah, everything, you get used to everything, right? So where are you from? I'm just waiting for people to turn up. I'm also filming on YouTube these days. You should see my setup. I keep adding more and more gadgets here. I've got 4 screens going. I'm not technical, but I got a lot of technical stuff. Oh, shoot, I forgot my microphone. The microphone is for YouTube because the MacBook microphone isn't great quality. Okay, sorry, just got to get it the right way. There we go. Okay, so while we're waiting, I'm just asking people where they're from. I usually do that initially before we really get going. 9:40 p.m. here. Weather is awful. Ireland. Oh, you've been here before. Jesse Mokomono. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to try and say that. Virginia. Hi, Virginia. Is that North Virginia, South Virginia? No, West Virginia or Virginia. Right, that's it. It's North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota. So it's West Virginia or Virginia. Gee, that's annoying. If there's a West, there should be an East. Prince Edward Island, Louisiana, Florida, Denmark, Minnesota, Alberta. Hi, neighbor. You have that blue plankton thing, yeah. Australia, yeah, Australia was great. I love Canada. I love Australia, and I've got dual citizenship, so I feel very fortunate. And my kids were born in Australia. That's where I raised them. Okay. Sweden, living in Ireland. You've been here before, haven't you? Yeah. Virginia Beach. Oh, Virginia Beach, Florida. Pennsylvania. PA. That's Pennsylvania, right? What else could it be? It must be Pennsylvania. Okay. 4:40 p.m. to 3 hours ahead, so you're Eastern. Yeah, it's 1:39 here. Honolulu. I only did a stopover in Hawaii once. I've never actually spent time there, but I mean, it's beautiful. Georgia. Okay, so let's get going. Auckland. I love New Zealand. We used to ski there when we lived in Australia. We skied down in Queenstown. I loved it there. I love New Zealand. I wish I'd sort of traveled more around there. South Africa, Tumbleweed, California. Tumbleweed, that's cute. I've never heard of that before. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. And okay. Oh yeah, if you look on the link above, it's everything I've got to offer. You can hire me for one-on-one coaching, or you can buy one of my courses, or you can download my free behavior board. You're on that behavior board too. That's what makes it work. It's just the start in all this. It can sort of shows you where I'm coming from. You give respect to get it. You don't just demand it, you command it, you earn it, you got to work for it. So that's what the behavior board teaches you. Okay. Okay, so Valley, can you assist with providing, can you assist with improving childhood trauma? Yeah, I do a lot of crisis work. So yeah, I do that. There's no guarantees with any of this, but I do have a lot of experience with that stuff. So if it's true trauma, I suggest you send me an email first. I'll look at it, and then I'll let you know what I think. Like, what I mean is whether or not I could work with you. Very, very, if it's anything custody or legal, I can't help you with anything like that. Obviously, you know. Screen time for 1.5-year-old. I don't have an opinion on that. In that I don't think there's a measured amount of time for any of that. My kids used to watch pretty much every morning. I let them watch the show called Play School. It was on in Australia. It was fantastic. And it was on, like, they have 4 channels there when I lived there. There was channel 2, 7, 9, and 10. Channel 2 was a government channel, and at certain times it was just all children's shows. And some of them were just phenomenal. So yeah, I used to let them watch that a lot, but it was like a half hour, and it was super educational. It was the way Sesame Street used to be. Sesame Street used to be educational. Now it's just all, nattering to toddlers. It's not so much education anymore. I'm sure it's still fine, but it's not what it used to be. So anyway. What's offered through your personal training? Well, that is teaching you how to be a leader. That's all we do. I teach you how to be a leader. It's just us. It's not the kids. And I show you how to be a leader. And when you're a leader, you lead and kids will follow, because they instinctively need, crave, and want a leader. When you're a leader at home, they're not susceptible out there in the world at all, because they have you as a leader. They're always going to tell you everything right through the teen years. Children without a leader at home are more susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. They're just more vulnerable out there in the world when they don't have a leader. So yeah, I teach leadership parenting. You want to be friends with your kids, but you're still parent number one. And you're never really telling them what to do. You're guiding them into making good choices. That's the difference. That's why I never really told my kids what to do. They just sort of made good choices. They learned that really young. But if your kids are older, I specialize in teenagers. It's never too late, but it takes longer. The longer you haven't been a leader, the longer it's going to be to get you there. That's doable. It's a learnable skill. Oh, gosh, that tastes good. It's really felt like a cup of tea. Bum, 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 bum. How do you see punishment? I don't really think of it as punishment. I think of it as consequences. The same way you get a speeding ticket, it's a consequence, not so much a punishment. But you do something bad, you get something, you get a lesson. There's a lesson learned from that, right? I really believe in karma and justice. I'm a justice fighter. Like, I could never stand bullying. If I ever saw a kid get bullied, I would, unless it was physical, I never get involved in that. But I would have been the first kid to go in there. And what I used to do is I used to befriend the victim. So I was pretty loud and confident, so it worked. But yeah, I hate anything like that. So I really like justice. And I'm very good at taking my punishment too. Like, if I speed and if I get a ticket, I just roll over. I'm sorry, sorry, sorry. I really believe in being accountable for what you do and what you say. And that's what I teach kids. So it's like, yeah, that was bad. Okay, here's the consequence. Do you understand? It's kind of like that. There's no, you were rotten, you shouldn't have. There's none of this therapy sessions. I hate those mini therapy sessions with a passion, discussing it all. They know, they understand it. Say, yeah, that was bad. Here's the consequence. Plus, if you do something bad, if you yell at your kids, they get to punish you or give you a consequence, right? It's got to be a two-way street. That's what leaders do. Leaders teach, they're watching you. They teach you, do as I do. Don't do as I say. Do as I do. It's more like that. Geez, that's good. That's a good video. Do as I do, not as I say. Okay, I like that one. So I'm writing it down. Do as I do, not as I say. Well, a little bit of as I say, but more, they're watching you more than they're listening to you. Guaranteed. No matter what age, right through the teen years, they're watching your behavior and they're learning more from that. Like, it's very hard to lecture someone. Like, it would be like, I've actually seen this. Parents telling their kids not to smoke. Yeah, it's really bad for you. Like, literally, they're not living, you got to practice what you preach. So do you believe everything starts with the home? Yes, absolutely, 100%. 100%. Everything starts at home. So whenever something's going on at school, I think, what am I doing? What am I missing as a mother? I'll tell you why. One of the proof I really believe in this was when my kids both started grade 1, I said to the teacher, if my kids ever step a toe out of line, never discipline them. That's my job. I'll do it. I didn't want to bother the teacher with that. That's my job. It's my job to send nice kids to school. So, but yeah, and I never got a call, obviously, because I teach this, right? But my son was in grade 2. And the teacher called me on her lunch hour to tell me this. She thought it was so cute. She said to him, he's in grade 2. She said, why are you so nice? And he looked up at her all serious and he goes, Mommy makes us be nice. And I'm like, you're darn right I do. That's my job. I'm your mother. So yeah, I really believe in everything starts at home. And right through the teen years, they're going to be out on their own a lot more. But if there's anything that's a little bit controversial or they're not sure about, they're going to come to you. That's that trust, that respect. but it's mutual. It's got to be mutual. Um, yeah, you don't want to be hitting your kids. The only reason you hit your kids or yell at them is because you don't know what else to do. I teach you what else to do. So, yeah, like, what do I do? Just keep watching me. Or what's your question? Was there a specific question or was it just about leadership? If you want to know how to do this, I do have a full course. It's 5 weeks to get respect. That's up in the link above, Bratbusters link tree. Everything I've got to offer is in there. It's all done in bullet form. My daughter did that for me. It's easier than to go to my, it's easier than going to my website. It's just got everything I've got to offer. So there's a whole course on how to set yourself up as a leader, or you can hire me one-on-one, or a small, you can still get results with this. The behavior board is completely free. It gives you the idea of what you do. Everything else is teaching you how to make it work. So the course and the coaching teaches you how to make that work. But some people are getting great results doing that on their own too. Depends where you are. How much are you struggling? And that starts at the age of 3, the behavior board. Under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. It's not about words because they learn through repetition. Okay, well, this is a tell. Pretty sure I know the answer to this. I could be wrong though. So it wouldn't be the first time. My toddler behaves so well at home, but not in public. Not sure what can I do. I'm guessing you're a different parent out in public. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. It just doesn't. So it says to me, you're afraid of being in charge. You're afraid of making a scene. You probably give in more, and they're learning that, hey, wait a minute. One parent at home, different parent out in public. So that's a bit of a tell, because my kids were the same everywhere because I was the same everywhere. It's consistency. I'm not a big tea drinker these days, but gee, that tastes good right now. Fascinating. Okay. 21-month-old runs away when he gets hurt instead of running to me for comfort. Well, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. Any tips for young children who lost their dad? I don't know how young they are, by the way, so it makes a big difference. I lost my dad when I was 14. I was 10 when he got sick, and I knew he was dying by the time I was 11. So yeah, I know a lot about that. But I was older, but I've worked with a lot of kids who've lost parents. So if you want to work with me, I don't talk to kids anymore. I would help you help your child with grief if you're interested in that. But yeah, it's you're not going to make it easy. This is the thing. You're not going to make it easy for them. You're just going to give them tools to help work through it. Grief isn't something you ever get over. It's something that you learn to live with. 1.5-year-old yells at the dog. She's got that from me. How do I stop it? Well, you stop it. So, but yeah, and every time she yells at the dog, just say no and remove the dog or remove her. Consistent corrective actions. The only word you need is no, the word no. And just, it's like, no big deal. You don't yell it, you just go no, and then you remove her or the dogs. Toddler behaves so well at home, but not in public. Same, that I just answered that. Yeah. Means you're different at home. Because if you're consistent and the kids know exactly who you are, like my kids knew 100%, I was exactly the same mother, no matter where we were. So their behavior was exactly the same, no matter where we were. If you have to say to your kids, we're going to go out to someone's house tonight, I want you to be on your best behavior, you got problems. Like that says to me, you got problems. Yeah, you gotta work on your leadership skills. I would never have said that to my kids, like ever. It doesn't work anyway. All sorts of bribe. I know lots of people have bribed and everything. When we're going out, we're going to a restaurant. If you're good, we'll do that. If you have to start talking like that, work on your leadership skills. Remember, their behavior has nothing to do with anything but you. Their behavior is a direct result of your parenting. Their basic personality, their basic nuances of who they are as a human being are their own. They are born with that. Okay, they're born to have tempers. They're born to be mild-mannered, but their behavior is 100% a direct result of you. So that's good news. That means you can work on yourself, right? We're never fixing kids. We're teaching parents. That's all I do. Okay, good for you for owning this. My 13-year-old is a bully. I don't like to use that word, but it's common. Everyone gets what you mean. Is a bully and rude and angry, not sure what to do. You'd have to hire me for that. I don't know what's going on. Behind bullying, it's always misery. No one happy ever bullies or is mean or rude or anything. There's always misery behind it. So, understanding that, that's how I go about it. Like, what is bothering that kid? So I would try and figure that out. Could just be frustration. 2-year-old hits me in the face. I have a course on that if you're interested. It's one of my mini courses. It's up in the Bratbusters link above. If you're interested in that, it's toddlers who hit, etc. And but yeah, it's just consistent corrective action. You just say no and you push them away and you walk away or something. Has to be every single time. It has to be fast. 2-year-olds don't think things through. They just do them. But they do learn eventually through repetition. They just learn. It's like a knee-jerk reaction kind of learning. It's not that they really think it through. It's just that something in their brain says, well, last time I hit, my mom got up and walked away. You know what I mean? Like they just sort of learn, but it might take 100 times. Has to be every single time. Their 2-year-olds don't remember much about a lot of stuff, but they do remember when you mess up. I don't know why, but they all do. I know my son was, I don't know, young adult. He's 33 now. And he's got his own kid on the way now. Can't wait to watch that. See what kind of parent he is. That'll be a show. I just think that'll be fascinating. I'm not looking forward to the grandkids as much as watching my kids parent. That to me is more exciting. The grandkid. I just think it'll be fun. I'll just sit, none of my business. I'll just sit back and watch. Yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about? I forgot. Anyway. Okay. Well, okay. 4-year-old aggravates 9-year-old sister and won't stop when I don't know what's going on. I don't know their dynamic. Often it's the other one that's causing it. They often roll their eyes at them or do something that annoys them. It's often the perpetrator is often not the one the parents think it is. So I'd have to assess that situation and then because it could go in too many different directions. There's no easy answer. Using your advice for a month and it's been amazing. Excellent. Oh, okay. Jessica. Hi, Jessica. I can't thank you enough. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email. I'd love to know more. And then I could do a video on that if you don't mind. Yeah, I'd love to know because it helps I tend to not do testimonials. I don't know why. I've put some up that parents have asked me to put up, but it's such a private business. Like I just feel funny putting your words out there. But yeah, if you're happy for me to do a video on that, I would love to say exactly what's working for you. And that would help other parents because I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but I'm level 10 with what I teach. It's better. I think it's better to hear it from other people who are just learning. What does work, what doesn't for you. Everyone's different. Temper tantrums in public, the same as at home. You completely ignore tantrums, completely. Unless you have to remove them from a quiet situation. You don't let them carry. You don't ignore a tantrum in a library or a restaurant or anything. But if it's somewhere loud, then you just completely stand there and follow your nails. Just wait. You never, ever, ever feed a tantrum. Any attention is tantrum food. So yeah, they eventually lean into what works and lean away from what doesn't. Any attention makes that tantrum work. So yeah. A tantrum is not a feeling. A tantrum is an expression of not getting what they want, when they want, how they want. That's all it is. They're just not getting their own way. So there's no way I would validate any of that. No way. Should I tell that story? No, I don't feel like telling stories right now. But I got a million stories on why you ignore tantrums. 2 of them I tell a lot. How do you get them to not scream when you put them in timeout? Is it oh, I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I would never do it. So yeah, I hate timeout. I think it's humiliating. Imagine if you did something wrong at work and your boss said, go sit in the corner. It's the same thing. I hate it. I think it's degrading and humiliating. Sorry about that. I'm very opinionated on timeout. Can't stand it. Yeah. 16-month-old that doesn't talk. Lots of them don't talk till they're 2 or 3. So, if there's real concerns there, go to a pediatrician, but it's common for them not to talk at that age. My 5-year-old will fake cry to get what she wants. What can I do? Well, stop feeding it. That's at that age, they only do what works. That means it works. That means it, and if it gets on your nerves, it works. So yeah, just if a kid fake cry with me, there's no way I would give that any attention. I might look over like this, like, that's what my mother would have done. No, my mother would have looked at me and gone like this. Are you kidding me with this? I would have been embarrassed. I never had tantrums though. You could always reason with me. My daughter was like that. My son, you couldn't reason with. He had tantrums. You could most of the time, but if he was having a tantrum, there's no reasoning with a tantrum. Mom said, I could always reason with you. And my daughter was the same. From the time she was tiny, could always reason with her. Yeah, good one. Don't do as I say, do as I do. Yeah, I already wrote that down. I'm going to do a video on that one. That's a good one. I mean, it's some of it is what I say, but mostly they're watching you way more than they're listening to you. Way more learning through here than through here. Way more. But parents don't want to do that. Parents want to do this. I don't know why. Um, yeah. I call it modeling for kids. You're modeling what you want from them. Like when they're having a tantrum, that's why I'm completely calm and I'm just filing my nails. I'm modeling calm behavior. There's a lesson in that. They're watching you. I'm modeling calm behavior. As soon as they're calm, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go to the park or let's read a book. I do not discuss tantrums before, during, or after. There's absolutely no point. If you can come up with a good point for that, I'd love to hear it, but doubt very much I'd agree with it. If anyone could say anything, oh God, it gets me the most flack online is the ignoring tantrums. Oh, you're not validating their feelings. I say, right, what's your point? You do not need to validate every single burp and fart and thought that they have. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you have that please your parent attitude where you need to validate every single thing they do, give them participation awards, roll out the red carpet everywhere they go, try and get them in with a fun teacher, you're always trying to make life easy for them, you're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues, okay? You're not raising tough individuals. So yeah, I know that's the style that's really trendy right now. The please your parent style drives me freaking nuts because I have to undo all that damage in coaching. Oh yeah. I've seen some TikTok stitching your videos saying not to ignore them. Yeah, a whole bunch of my competition out there has attacked me on here. They backed off now. I think they realized I'm not going anywhere. But I talk about it now because they're not doing it anymore. But every time they do it, if it's a big one, like someone who has a lot of followers, every time they trash me, I get tons of new followers. They help grow my following. Like I have about 550,000 followers on here, and I would say a huge part of that is thanks to them. So yeah, I love them. I don't know them. I've never looked at one of their videos. People tell me they do that because I think, why did I get 50,000 followers today? Like when I first came on, they just went after me like tooth and nail, and they're in the caring field, which strikes me as funny. But whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I get like 50,000 new followers in a day when I first came on here. And sure enough, it was because they had trashed me in a video. Oh God, I don't know why that cracks me up so much. I love justice. I love karma. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm happy if they trash me. Go have at it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know any competition out there. I purposely stay away from. I stay out of that whole mess. That's that nasty stuff on the playground. You would never have seen me in on that. It's the same kind of stuff. I don't do any of that. It's funny. Okay. I've used your method and got results in a week, and I've been doing gentle parenting for years. Okay, so I don't comment on that. I call pleaser parent. There's a whole bunch of types of parenting under the pleaser parent style. That's all I comment on, the old-fashioned authority and the trendy pleaser parent, but I'm not going to comment on that. But I would like to know what's been working particularly well, Jessica. What in particular? Is it the behavior board, or is it ignoring tantrums? Is it the bedtime battles that I often talk about? Teaching them how to share, what have you found successful? I'm assuming it's the behavior board. Okay. Where did you live in Australia? My son was born in Sydney. I was there for a year, actually right in Marsfield, which is near North Ryde. But then we moved out to Emu Plains to fix up an investment house that my husband had. Fixed that up, lived there for a few months. That's where my son was born, out at Emu Plains, Penrith Hospital. And then we moved up to Brisbane. My daughter was born up there. We lived in the northern suburbs where Ferny Grove, that area. It wasn't Ferny Grove. We lived in Arana Hills. But anyway, that's where I lived. We were there for many, many years. Only came back to Canada because my mother was elderly and had a stroke, and she just wasn't doing well. And so, yeah, you know what they say? I was just talking to my daughter about this. When I was young, I married an Australian, then moved down under and had a couple of kids, raised them there. I was there for like 20 years. I never thought I'd be back in Canada, not because I didn't like it, but who wants to immigrate with, anyway. But then I heard this saying and it stuck with me. They said, you move to a place you love when you're young. When you're old, you move to where the people are that you love. So you move for the place when you're young, you move for the people when you're old. You tend to reconnect with what's really important. And my mother was more important than living in Australia. And she died in my arms. It could not have been more beautiful. She was 93, so it's not sad. It was a natural progress. You know what I mean? It was sad, but anyway. So yeah, Australia is. It's. I haven't been back. We moved back here in 2005. I haven't been back. I think it'd be too painful because I didn't want to leave. I can remember on the plane leaving Australia, just looking out the window, just in a state of shock. I couldn't believe I was leaving Australia for good. Anyway, yeah, I love Australia. I love Canada too. Should I ignore screaming 2-year-old? Yeah, you tend to ignore what you don't like with toddlers unless they're hurting someone else or getting into something. But if it's just screaming, there's not much you can do about that. So you tend to just ignore that. But then as soon as they talk nicely, you've got to get in there and give that attention. So you're not just teaching kids what not to do, you're teaching them what to do. So when he talks nicely or is calmer, then you want to interact. As soon as he screams, oh, no, and then you walk away. Let him know. But it takes a lot of energy to do that because you've got to be consistent. That's the key. You got to be consistent. Why do you think many therapy sessions became popular? I think I know why, but I don't really want to say. This was about 30 years ago. I first started seeing those come in. It came in with the participation awards, trying to make life easy for kids, trying to give them so much and not wanting to discipline them because you didn't want to damage them. Not being disciplined is far more damaging than never being disciplined because they have no direction in life. They just are kind of lost and their self-esteem suffers a great amount. Anyway, so the funny thing is it was to make, okay, well, I'm going to say it. It really was, I think, this is what I saw happen. I did a TED talk on this and a lot of people disagreed with me, but I still stand by it because I've been around for a long time. I'm in my 60s now. I've been watching this because I've always been fascinated by kids and parenting. So when the moms went back to work, this is when it happened. Back in the 70s, a lot of moms went back to work. A lot of divorces were happening, so it was a lot of an economic reason why that had to happen. Then mom guilt came in. Mom didn't want to discipline anymore because she thought it was mean. She didn't have the support of the community around her, all the neighbors. There just wasn't that same knowledge about parenting. And they also started moving away from grandparents who were teaching them how to discipline. So they just a lot of guilt. It all started from mom guilt. And then mom just wants to give in all the time and nurture every thought, every feeling, get them participation awards, try and make life as easy as possible for them. It's actually, you're doing them a disservice, because you're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. That's the potential, right? The old-fashioned authority is my way or the highway. You do what I say because I'm your parent. That's not great either, but it's way better than the pleaser parent. Children who are raised by the authority parent tend to rebel during the teen years, but they come back around and appreciate that parent. The pleaser parent really never gets appreciated because it's not really parenting. It's just trying to please them. And also those parents this is a real sign of it. Are you a pleaser parent? This is how you can tell. If your kid is mad and they say, I hate you, and you get upset, that's that insecurity, the guilt. That's the pleaser parent gives into that. But I love you. That's the pleaser parent. An old-fashioned authority parent would say, whatever, like they just wouldn't be manipulated. And the leader is more like that. I'm in between. I'm not either, really. But if I was going to err on either side, it would be the authority. For sure. Yeah. Oh, I could go on about that for years and years. I could just talk about that forever, but I won't bore you. Eight-year-old boy suddenly became a know-it-all, challenges everything we say. New phase at 8? No. I'm going to suggest something's happened at school. Maybe he's all of a sudden gotten popular at school. That perhaps, I don't know, but no, that's not usually what happens at 8. That happens at 3 and 13, not usually at 8. Although it can start around 9. What happens if you've been the pleaser parent? It might just be kicking in now. It's backfiring now. The pleaser parent style backfires anywhere from 5 and up. Usually by 8, they've already challenged you. So, but the pleaser parent style that's so trendy right now, it will backfire. And yeah, that could just be it. Every time people are talking back and forth, I always get all snoopy trying to figure out what you guys are talking about. But then I get dizzy going backwards. So, like, what are you talking about? Okay, so this is Jessica again. She's been using my methods to great success, and she says it's hard work, but stick with it because it works. It just does. But anything worthwhile is hard work. You got to earn this. You don't just decide one day I'm going to be a leader and then the kids don't follow suit and you say, I give up, it doesn't work. You got to give it 3 weeks minimum. And this is consistent 3 weeks. By the way, when people hire me for coaching, they often are embarrassed that they make mistakes. And I'm like, if you don't make mistakes, you're going to be the first one because this is messy. You're going to make mistakes. You're changing your personality. So, but yeah, if you mess up and make mistakes, I'm probably just going to laugh at you. And then it's like, big deal. I'm going to say, yeah, you made a mistake. You and everybody else, like we all make mistakes. We all do. So it's not about perfection. It's about keep trying. Don't give up. Keep trying. But the road to success is paved with failures. So you'll learn a lot from your failures. So whenever a client messes up, I go, they always say, why are you laughing? I say, because I hear this every day. Everyone's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed I messed up. And I keep telling them, you're going to mess up. And then when they do, they're embarrassed to admit it. And I'm like, why? Anyway, then as time goes on, they start saying, you won't believe what I did. And I'll say, yeah, I've heard that one before. So that's part of it. You learn through making your mistakes too. So, and we can use those to your advantage. But anyway, yeah, it's messy, but it's worth it. It just is. It's hard work. But getting respect is hard work. Maintaining it is a piece of cake right through the teen years. Parenting shifts and changes in the teen years, but once you've got that respect cemented, that mutual respect, it's maintaining it's so easy. Getting it's hard work, but it's worth it. I would say 3 to 6 weeks with little ones, 3 to 6 months with teenagers, and then somewhere in between with the rest of the ages. It's hard work. But every parent that I've worked with who has great success say, yeah, I cried a lot, but God, it was worth it. Like, it's just because you're changing yourself. Yeah, you're changing yourself. Remember, we're not fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. We're teaching parenting here. So we're changing. It's really hard. Okay, 7-year-old lying, just put on the behavior board, put no lying. The behavior board's free. It's up in my link, the Bratbusters link above there. It's the only thing that's in blue, I think. Anyway, it's the link. And it's free, the behavior board. And just put no lying. Just say it like it is. It's lying. Say no lying. And then you can put in brackets, because he's 7, you might understand that. So you put in brackets, I will decide when you're lying. In other words, don't argue with me. And as they get older, if they argue and say, but I was telling the truth, I said, yeah, but I'm sure you've lied when I haven't caught you. Am I right? So yeah, don't get pulled into those arguments. A lot of parents do with the lying, especially. I haven't talked about this in a while, but there's one really good way of figuring out if they're lying. You interview them, say exactly what happened, and you literally get out a notebook and a pen like you're doing an interview, an old-fashioned, an interview. Write down everything that happened. Then an hour later with little ones, say, can you please tell me that again? The truth never changes, lies change. They improve on them, right? So, but with older kids, maybe interview them the next day, maybe. So that's how you can tell. Truth never changes. I'll tell you, this was quite interesting, actually. It was sad, but I do a lot of bike group stuff, like big rides. And we were on this narrow road up in this mountain area, and I hated it. I said, I'm never going to do this one again. Very narrow road. A lot of people with big trucks towing boats. And they had to go around us because there was no shoulder at all. There was literally no shoulder for us. And by the way, if you're ever behind a bike and they're not on the shoulder, the reason is there's usually pebbles and dips and holes in a shoulder. It's dangerous for cyclists, especially when you're going fast. But anyway, this was just treacherous. And then when you're doing a long ride like that, you always got split up and you meet with the group later on. Anyway, there was only 2 of us that within eyesight of each other, or I could only see her. She was ahead of me and I was trying to catch her. She was a very good rider. Sure enough, she got hit by this boat. This boat trailer caught her and it was horrendous, actually. I won't go into it. But anyway, I was the only witness. And thank God I was. She evidently got a pretty good payout. Now, if I hadn't been a witness, that was just my word again. She didn't remember what happened, but I saw the whole thing. So, but what was interesting about that, taught me a lot about lying, was I didn't know this, but they evidently, because I was the only witness, I was considered credible, but still, this is what they do. They interviewed me over a period of a year before they decided if I was telling the truth. Like the other guy's lawyer interviewed me. The girl I saw get hit, her lawyer interviewed me. The police, psychologists. I was interviewed over a period of time. And what they do is they evidently compare notes. And my story never changed. And they said that's how they knew. They said I didn't add any extra emotions or anything. It was just, this is what I saw, this is what happened. And that isn't that interesting that they already decided that they're going to wait a whole year before they decided on the case. And then they never took it to court because of that, because of my testimony. I never went to court either, but my interviews got her the big payout, and it was just my interviews. They decided not to take her to court over that. So thank God. I was kind of worried he might come after me. He was scary looking, the guy who hit her. So I thought he might take me out. But anyway. So yeah, the truth never changes. My husband is the pleaser. Maybe that's it. He's always been so compliant, but suddenly not so much. Okay, kids only need one leader. I was the leader. My mom was the leader. Both those dads were the pleasers. But it's kind of nice to have that yin and yang. The reason it worked is when you're a really good leader, the kids follow that leader. They just do. That old saying, follow the leader, they just do. Their children are naturally drawn to a leader. So they tend to become the person that they are with that leader. Plus, the pleasers always backed up the leaders. Like my dad, my mom was still in charge, and my dad they would never have argued over that. And same with my ex-husband. If I wasn't around and the kids started pushing him around, he would say, do you want me to tell mom? No, never mind. And I never even did anything. It was just because I was the leader. So you only need one good leader. I am drinking roasted. It's a medicinal one. Someone asked what I'm drinking. Roasted dandelion root tea. There you go. It's the tea that tastes most like coffee. I love coffee, but I can't drink coffee at all. And decaf still has caffeine in it. It literally makes me almost pass out. I get vertigo attack and just about pass out. So I can handle caffeine only in Diet Coke and kombucha. I can't handle caffeine in any tea or any coffee. So this is completely herbal, but it kind of tastes like coffee. It's really good. Okay, 9-year-old always trying to grab money he finds around the house. He wants to buy food in the school store. We send lunch boxes. I don't know what your question is. My kids always change their story or say they can't remember. Yeah, it's convenient, eh? Like a lot of criminals say, I don't remember, I must have blacked out. Yeah, they remember. Yeah, just say, you know what? If you can't remember, I'm going to make up my own scenario and make it one that wouldn't suit them at all. Okay, that's what I would do. If you can't remember, I'll just decide that that's what happened. So you say, well, and then if they argue, say, well, how do you know? Yeah, I would totally take charge. I call kids on stuff like that. It's manipulation. I call them on it. I say, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll decide the story, and I'm deciding that you were in the wrong. So here's the consequence. Yeah, they just take charge. Any advice for kids being corrupted by other kids in a joint family house? Okay, that's too complicated. You'd have to hire me for that. So that's blended family stuff. Is that what that is? Yeah, you'd have to hire me. I'd have to figure out what's going on. It's complicated. It's not a TikTok answer. It's complicated because I need to assess the situation first. Do you think parents with different parenting styles can be friends? I never met another parent like me, and I had lots of friends that had kids. So is that what you mean? Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I would never have tolerated was when they had kids who physically hit my kids. I dumped those friends. If I wasn't seeing them on my own anyway, if it was just through the kids that we got together, I just dumped them. There's no way I'd expose my kids to that. What do we do about constant excuses and refuses to take account? Well, use my behavior board. That's 7-year-old refuses to take responsibility. You got to teach them that. If they don't take responsibility, that's like saying, well, those people who speed down the freeway, they don't take responsibility. No, that's what the police are for. That's what the threat of tickets are for. That's what makes it's the consequences that make us responsible. That's why we pay rent. That's why we pay taxes. That's why we try not to speed, especially if we see a radar trap. You know what I'm saying? It's, we don't just not pay for food because we go to jail for stealing, for shoplifting. You see what I'm saying? We all live by consequences. So what are you just talking to your kid? Are you just doing the mini therapy sessions with no consequences? That could be your problem because that's useless. It would be like speeding down the freeway and a cop saying, and then they give you a mini therapy session but no ticket. Wouldn't you just keep speeding if all you were ever going to get was a therapy session? I would. I'll be honest, I would. I don't have a car that could speed that much, but I certainly would. What's your relationship with your kids? I have a very good relationship with my kids. I don't discuss them now because they don't choose. This is from YouTube. They don't choose to be on the internet. I do. So I don't discuss them as adults. My son's 33. He's got his first kid on the way. And my daughter's 28. We see each other every day. We both live downtown Vancouver. And yeah, they both said they're going to try and parent the way I did. So we'll see. They'll have their own styles. It's none of my business. I'm just going to sit back and watch the show. But when I'm babysitting, grandma's rules. That's the way it should be. If you're dropping your kids off with someone else, don't tell them how to parent. Don't tell them how to look after your kid. If you trust them enough to leave your kid with them, let them do whatever they're going to do. Oh, except with nutrition. Like I wouldn't want someone giving my kids candy and all that crap. You know what I'm saying? Like just, but if they want to give them something sweet, that's fine. It's not like it's, you know, they're their kids. When you drop them off, let them do what they're going to do. Oh, you must be new here, Crystal, the behavior board. Yeah, welcome on board. And that behavior board, lots of parents get good results with that. That's the first level. Then the course is the second level. And then coaching is the highest level when you're working one-on-one with me. But lots of parents are getting results just with the behavior board. It starts at the age of 3. Well, he is stealing. If he's 9 years old and he's taking money, he is stealing. I would put down literally no stealing. I would put that down on the behavior board, say no stealing. That's not your money. You don't steal money. So I would call it like it is. Just say it like it is. It's all this political trying. Yeah, I don't understand that. Say no stealing. Put it on the board. And when he steals, there's a consequence. Do you have an allowance book going? I've taught lots of stuff. I've got lots of videos on allowance. Look it up. I call it Mom's Bank or allowance. Just look up Bratbusters Mom's Bank and it'll come up. Or allowance. It'll come up. It's a whole system on how you handle allowance. And if he's stealing money, I would use that allowance book. Yeah. He would lose whatever he stole, he would lose double. I would take double out. And also there'd be a consequence because stealing to me is like lying. It's the same thing. Okay, worried my toddler is lonely with no relatives or friends his own age and is excluded by older kids. Well, of course they're excluded by older kids. When you were 4, did you want to play with a toddler? Like that's completely natural. So yeah, what I did with my kids, we had no family around, nobody. And we were brand new in where we lived, so we had nobody. I got involved in tons of different mom groups. When they were babies, there were mom groups, there was gymboree, there was swimming lessons, I went to the gym every day too, once they were up on their feet and like could actually walk well. I took them to the gym every single day and they went in the gym daycares. That was all their social life. So there's always a way. You don't need relatives or friends for that. You can go out and make them, right? Not make relatives, but you can go out and make friends. So that's what I did with my kids. My son liked the gym daycare so much that on the weekends he used to cry because it was closed and I went to the gym alone, like without him. So he used to cry on the weekends because he couldn't go to the gym daycare. That's how much, that was his social life. He loved it. And he had swimming, and he had, tons of other things. How to prevent difference in parenting styles from affecting your kids. They only need one leader. But when there's a good leader, by the way, if you're a good leader, the other parent's going to follow along because that's what my ex-husband did. He loved the way the kids were with me, the way I was parenting. So he just said, do you want me to tell mom if they ever acted out? Because I didn't want to messing them up. I knew what I was doing. So there's usually is one parent who defers to the other, and you want the leader to be in charge. You're not the bossy one. You're just the leader. You're the one that they're trying to please. When you're a really good leader, they look up to you. They want to please you. They just do. When they're teenagers, they don't want to disappoint you. They love you the same as they love their parents the same, but there's almost always one clear leader, and there only needs to be one, but the other one has to back them up. But usually when you're a good leader, the kids are great. So why would the other one not want to back you up? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Why would on earth would a parent say, yeah, the kids are great when with your style, they're lousy with mine, so I'm going to go with mine? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Are you from Canada or PNW? What's PNW? Pacific Northwest. Oh, no, I'm in Canada. I'm Vancouver, Vancouver, BC, not Vancouver, Washington. Yeah. 2-year-old who biting. I have a little mini course on that. It's up in my link up above. If you look up Bratbusters, the link in my profile there, there's a little mini course on 2-year-olds who bite, hit, etc. If they're doing it during a tantrum, that's the tantrum course. If they're just doing it just because they are, that's the aggressive toddler one, just when they hit and bite for no particular reason, just to sort of get their own way. But if they're doing it during a tantrum, that's the tantrum course. They're actually very different. The other parent has this "don't tell my kids what to do" attitude, and they love it. Yeah, well, you might want to hire me for that. Um, Whenever I'm hired, there's often two different camps in the house. Not when there's crisis, though. Not when there's something really serious. Both parents, if they're in crisis, like I mean life and death stuff, with teenagers especially, or sometimes young children will self-harm and do awful stuff. So, but anyway, this is what the parents look like when they're in crisis. They're both just watching me, listening. Often, if they're not in crisis and they're just trying to, get more respect with the kids, one parent will be like this, and the other parent will be like this on the Zoom call. And I'm always like, gee, I wonder who wanted to hire me. The thing is, if that's the case and they're completely on two separate pages, I'll pick a leader. And I say, just while you're working with me, you just do whatever the leader says. And it's not always the one they think it's going to be the leader. I pick the one I think that I can get the best results with. It's often the one who needs convincing the most. Once they start seeing the results, then they get on board pretty quick. And I always say to them, never say to the other parent, I told you so, because that's just going to make it worse. You're both on the same team here. You want what's best for your kids and you want a happy family life. You just want to have a happy family. That's the bottom line. It's not about having good kids or bad kids. It's about you just want to be happy. You just want to enjoy your family, right? That's what I did. I loved it. Okay, congratulations on your first grandkid. Do you know the gender? No, they're doing that next week, I think. We're having a gender reveal party. Don't know. Yeah, I don't have a preference. Healthy. There you go. I used to have this standard joke. I don't know why I thought it was so funny. Yeah, I say, like, I have a really sarcastic sense of humor. And whenever someone would say, "Do you ever thought of having a third?" And I used to say, used to say this. I still think it's funny. I don't know why. I'm just a lunatic. But anyway, they'd say, "Oh, do you ever think about having a third?" And I said, "Yeah, well, we've got a girl and a boy, so I wouldn't mind a third. Then we'd have one of each." Like, what? Boy and a girl and whatever. Anyway, see, that's not really funny. I just always, the only reason I thought it was so funny is people would always do this, the head tilt. What are you talking about? I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, I only ever had two. I was lucky to shoot those two, I will tell you. I had back surgery after my first because he cracked my spine when he came out. And then I had heart surgery after my second because I developed arrhythmia with my second pregnancy. And in the middle, I lost multiples and miscarried multiples. My body was just, I'm lucky I shot two kids out. So anyway, I'm adopted. I was pro-adoption. I really didn't care if I had my own because I'm adopted and I loved it. I love being adopted. But my ex-husband didn't want to do that. He wasn't comfortable doing that. And you both have to be on board with that. I totally respected that. Totally. But yeah, you both have to be on board to do that. Yeah, that is funny, right, Daniel? Yeah, that is funny. I think it's funny. Okay, I think I'm hilarious, whatever. I'm usually, when you say something you think's funny, I'm usually the one who's laughing the most. Like right now. Okay. Hannah, you need to get them tested for autism. Ask your doctor for referral for an evaluation. Oh, ooh, okay. What did Hannah say? Now I got to go back. Oh, how do I know if my son has autism or just behind in speech? How old is he? I'll talk. Okay, I have a lot of opinions on this. Yeah, I'm curious. Hannah, how old is he? Okay, good one. This is Kara. Media blackout is on. So on the behavior board, there's 2 disciplines or 2 consequences for the kids. The first one is a positive action. If they won't do that, like mop the floor or something like that, then you say, that's fine, you don't have to. Media blackout for 24 hours starts now, or something like that. So you start with a positive action. If they won't do that, then you do the negative deprivation. You defer to that. So that's what that's what Kara's talking about. So media blackout's on, and then they misbehave. Then what? They're 7, 5, and 3. Just let it go, because they're already being punished. And by the way, when you've got media blackout happening, do it with them, and you're trying to bond with them. You're playing games, you're doing other things. Because if you have kids who are in the doghouse and you're treating them that way, it's just fail, 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 fail. You want to win. You want to succeed with all this stuff. So when you got media blackout, they're mad at you. There's no media blackout means no screens, no phone, no TV, no nothing, no computer. Anyway, when you got media blackout, and they're mad at you, just say, do you want to play a game? No, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Say, okay. And then an hour later, when they've calmed down, ready for that game yet? You're always trying to pull them in. That's just you exercising your leadership. I don't care if they ever play a game with you, but you're exercise that leadership. Calm, calm, calm. Okay. And then they misbehave. You just have to let it go. You just say, well, that's why we've got media blackout. Don't double it. Not with that age. You double it from 9 and up, and there's a very specific way how you double that. I don't suggest that outside of coaching, and I'll decide when we do that, because it can be it's next level. If you double it from 24 to 48 hours, it usually backfires unless I tell you why we're doing it. It's very rare that I'll do that. Double it. There's a very specific reason why I do it, but yeah, you don't double it. You just, well, that's why we've got media blackout. That's the most I would say. Just kind of, if they act out, just go, do whatever you did before. Just suffer through it. But they've already got media blackout. You're already exercising your leadership. Okay, I got some questions coming through on YouTube. I've actually got 3 people on YouTube watching me. Yeah, I've got about 100 here on TikTok. Oh, Negro. It's Negro. Oh, that's terrible. I just realized what I said. It's knee, Knee, grow. Sneaky. Okay, some of the stuff I've read out loud, like I read out something really bad once, and my daughter was watching the live, and she was like, Mom. Okay, so you said 3-year-old cute little boy always. Oh, no, you're just being rude. Why am I reading that? Jeez, Lisa. I usually on TikTok now, I usually know, like, most people are polite, but yeah, that was just silly. I think it's a kid. Obviously, it's a kid. Here I am reading it out loud. You think I'd learn, right? Okay. What course do you recommend for me to start with my 4-year-old? I have a course, 3 to 12-year-olds. It's how to get respect in 5 weeks. Don't rush it, but you can elongate it in the first week or 2 by 1 week. So you might elongate the whole 5 weeks into 6, maybe 7 weeks. But yeah, everyone, do not go to week 4 and start there. I have people who've done that, and then they email me. They say, you're right, we don't do that. The week 4 is when you're not using the behavior boards anymore. The behavior boards are just a teaching tool for you. Once you learn how to be a leader, learn how to discipline effectively, giving respect to get it. Once you learn how to do that, you go off the behavior boards, and we do what I call in-the-moment discipline. Week 4 and 5 are in-the-moment discipline. But you got to learn how to do this first. You don't just start with that. It would be like learning how to fly a plane, but not learning all the instruments first. You just, week 4 is like the first flight. So it's like that. Okay, it's not just like flying, but you get the idea. So yeah, I recommend it. It's up in my link up above there. How much is a course? Just look up there. All the courses are on there. I have a lot of mini toddler ones. There's a reason why I've got a whole bunch of toddler ones. I will be getting a toddler course, a bigger one done, and then I'll be bundling up those little ones in it. I'm going to figure that all out down the road. I've just been so busy. Can you hear the siren? I live downtown. Sometimes people say they can't hear it. Any tips on toddlers screaming when upset, like really screaming? So that's not, I always say that's kind of none of your business. That's them processing, not getting their own way. And that's okay if they scream. Absolutely fine. So yeah, don't worry about that. That's on them. They eventually lean into what does work and lean away from what doesn't work. If you give that any attention, it's working. Attention is feeding that. The only thing that you give attention to when they're having a fit or screaming or having a tantrum is if they're getting violent and they're hurting themselves, someone else, or damaging property. Then you restrain them. But don't look at them or talk to them. You just restrain. You say no and you hold them. And then as soon as they start to calm down, let them go. And then if they start up again, hold them again. It's hard to do. It's very hard to do. I just had a client the other day really, really struggled with that. So we had to modify it a little bit. I never know how far the kids are going to go. How long are they going to keep kicking and screaming? So yeah, sometimes you just have to try something and you have to adjust it as we go along. I did a media blackout for a week. Oh my gosh, yes, way too long. Attitudes were horrible. Oh yeah, that's a big, that's just awful. Not going to work. It's too much. It's like media blackout for a whole year. It's got to be 24 hours and that's it. So yeah, 24 hours. I don't even like to go there, but sometimes it's a really good lesson. But yeah, 24 hours is plenty. I won't go into all the reasons why you don't do it loses its effectiveness. It just gets into the mean category. Then they keep acting out anyway. It's a whole week where you've got nothing else to do to them. Like you've got 6 days. What can you do to them now? Well, you already got media blackout. What am I going to do now? It's you tie your own hands with that, and you make them mad, and it's just kind of mean. Yeah. I had, oh gosh, I work with a lot of parents who've already got media blackout going on for a week or a month. And I say, you have to give them back that media and apologize for taking it away for so long. And the parents are going, what? Are you kidding me? And I go, yeah, you have to, because you made a mistake. We're going to correct it. And you're going to apologize for making that mistake. And they just look at you differently. The respect starts. That's where the leadership is. Leaders are very quick to admit when they're wrong. I'm very good at apologizing. And my son used to say, he's very funny. He used to say, that's because you've had so much practice. Yeah, if I mess up, I'm very quick to apologize. And there's 4 steps to a real apology. The word I'm sorry means nothing to me. It's just empty words usually. I'm sorry, and they keep doing it again and again. It just means nothing. Anyway, there's 4 steps to a real apology, and adults can learn this too. It's more for adults than anyone. But anyway, the number 1, you say I'm sorry just to get the ball rolling. The number 2 is you take full accountability for what you did wrong. Don't say I wouldn't have yelled if you hadn't done that. So you don't blame the other person for your crime. The 3rd step is really important. Say, what can I do to make it up to you? And then offer something. So you make amends, right? That's where the consequence is for you. It's the word I'm sorry. That's nothing. It's ridiculous. So I killed someone. Sorry. Okay, go out and do it again. Like, it's just ridiculous. Where's the consequence? So say I'm sorry, take full responsibility and accountability for it. Don't blame the other person. The 3rd step is say, what can I do to make it up to you? So you make amends. The 4th step is don't keep doing it. Don't repeat it, or else none of that meant anything. Yeah, 4 steps to say I'm sorry. Oh, my kids loved it when I messed up. It was usually when I was impatient and I would be trying to rush them along. Come on, I said, and they'd look at each other like this. Because they knew, they'd say, Mom, don't you think you're being a little bit, gruff with us? And I'd say, yeah, what do you want? They'd say, we'd really like to go to the water slide park after school today. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll bring your suits. They loved it when I messed up because they knew I knew how to make amends because I'm a leader. I'm responsible for my actions. That's why they were responsible for their actions because they saw me doing it. What is a consistent corrective action for a toddler screaming? A toddler screaming is not bad behavior, so there's no consistent corrective action for that. It's ignoring. It's like a tantrum. You ignore that because you can't. It's sort of like an attitude. You can't address an attitude. So yeah, you don't do anything with that. Just ignore them. I have birth to 3 coming. What? Birth to 3 coming for maybe speech therapy. I don't quite understand the wording there, but everyone tells me he should be talking. I mean, yeah, if you're worried, yeah, don't give warnings. I'm going to talk about that, by the way. That's a good one. If you're concerned, take them to a pediatrician. Have them checked over. I do know people who didn't talk till they were 3 or walk, and they got up and ran and talked in full sentences. They just didn't feel like talking until then. They had no reason to. So it's not unheard of, but they usually are talking before 3. Anyway, okay. So you said don't give warnings. Now, that's true. Um, you don't give warnings when they're doing something bad, but you can give a heads up when you want them to do something good. What I mean by that is if you want to leave the house in 5 minutes, you can say, in 5 minutes, be ready to go because we'll be going. That's a warning. Not a warning, but it's just a heads up. We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. But if they're doing something bad, don't say this ever. Do not say, if you do that again, because if I'm assuming they already know it's bad, and they always know it's bad, right? Kids know good from bad, especially past the age of 3. They all know. So you do not say to them, if you do that again, there's going to be a consequence. You know what you've just told them? It's okay to do it once. It's okay to do it. The countdown method's horrible. That's my absolute least favorite discipline method, is when they're doing something awful, like hitting the cat or something. You go, when I count to 3, you better stop. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. And then they stop hitting. There's no punishment. There's no lesson learned. All they've learned is just hit harder for 3 seconds, and it's okay. You've just told them it's okay to be rotten and nasty for 3 seconds, but not for more. It's a complete ridiculous. There's no justifying that countdown at all. That's the warning that I'm talking about when I say you never warn. When they've done something bad, take action. That was bad. There's going to be a consequence for that, and this is what it is. So yeah, you got to address all bad behavior. You can't let it go. Especially not when they're little. When they're teenagers, different story. Don't sweat the small stuff. But even then, anyway, we'll get into teenagers. I think it's mostly toddler parents here. Teenagers are my favorite age. I started my business working with teen crisis work. And okay. What time is it? Okay, it's after 1. It's 1:01, so that means I've been on here for an hour. And anyway, I'm going to get going now. So if you want to know what I've got to offer, my courses, my coaching, or my free behavior board, that's all in the link above, bratbusters.linktree or whatever it's called. And that's in my bio up there. Otherwise, I'll be back. I do these lives pretty much every day. So I'll be back again tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.